Oklahoma's top prosecutor blames corporate greed for what he calls the worst man-made health crisis in U.S. history. In a first-of-its-kind trial, the state argues Johnson & Johnson used deceptive practices to fuel an opioid epidemic that has killed more than 200,000 Americans in the last 2 decades. Omar Villafranca is at the courthouse in Norman, Oklahoma. Omar, what did we learn from the trial's very first day?
Good morning. We learned this is going to be a full contact trial. Both sides came out swinging during opening statements. And this is the first of roughly more than 1,800 similar cases to go to trial. So there's a lot of attention from states, drug makers, and people affected by the opioid crisis.
I did everything from following him to drug testing him.
But nothing Emily Walden did could save her son TJ, a member of the Kentucky National Guard, from an ultimately fatal opioid addiction. That's what brought her here from Kentucky for the start of this landmark case.
This trial will set the stage for every lawsuit across this country.
Oklahoma Attorney General Mike Hunter is asking a judge to hold Johnson & Johnson liable for creating a public nuisance, contributing to the opioid epidemic through deceptive and misleading marketing. In opening remarks, he accused the company of running a brainwashing campaign to downplay opioid risks.
Money can make people and businesses do bad things.
The state says drug makers push clinicians to prescribe opioids, making more than 149,000 sales visits to fewer than 2,500 prescribers. Purdue Pharma and Teva Pharmaceuticals previously settled out of court without any admission of wrongdoing.
Our evidence is going to show clearly and irrefutably that these companies work together and that Johnson & Johnson was in it up to their neck.
Johnson & Johnson says its drugs were designed to be difficult to abuse and only comprised a minuscule share of Oklahoma's opioid market. And a defense lawyer argued there's no proof the company's actions directly caused a single addiction or death.
And how many would it take for us to be responsible for a nuisance, a public nuisance?
Despite settlements with other drug companies, the Oklahoma Attorney General says there are currently no settlement talks with Johnson & Johnson. This trial is expected to last 2 months. Anthony?
2 months. Wow, Omar, thanks. A lot of people watching that trial very closely.